You know what? I want to ask you something real quick here. This is my own little thought, okay? But we talked about CERN before. You and I have discussed CERN before, the Hadron Collider. It's actually being fired up. It's in motion right now. Obviously, they're talking about simulating the black hole. Now, a lot of people are worried about us getting sucked into that black hole and being, you know, all of a sudden the Earth is no more. But I'm looking at it as, is it possible to actually navigate and actually simulate a black hole but move this planet from point A to point B in a different sector? Move the planet entirely.
So that's the concept of a magnetic monopole that Boeing is currently researching.
On a planetary level?
Yeah, when you take the two magnets and you bring them closer together with a screw, you create, you bend space-time, and not a wormhole per se, but it's like a wormhole. And the tighter it gets, you know, so you have a calibrator. Space and time, they're just subsets of four-to-four space. Mm-hmm. They're not even real.
Right.
And that space, like Penrose would suggest, is it's turning on itself. It's mini black holes. So you have a cavitation process going on, which would absolutely have a double ganger black hole. That's where Hawking's is different from Penrose in the mathematical approach to how to see what into the out of means. Torus twistor space, or a toroidal surface that is going into the out of like a cavitation ball behind a submarine, that is a form of cold fusion. And when you do it with water, now you restructure the waters with all different forms of it. Water, good gosh, water has, just in normal water, H2O, has ortho and para, where the dipole moment goes this way or that way, and, with the two hydrogen. Now, that orientation is now being studied on how to separate the one from the other using a light as a filtering screen or a filter where the ortho water goes here and the para water goes there. Then you have clustered water, where you actually have three molecules sharing as a single molecule, so it's H7O9 with a free radical ion. It's Kerry Reams water, if you will. And that one is like what you find around a waterfall, where the water is stripping against itself, and so it bonds to itself and forms this ion that's healthy, negative ion. That's why they like negative ion generators. And so then you have hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. That's water with an extra oxygen molecule. And then you form exclusion zone water, where you bring another hydrogen in. So that's H3O2. And that molecule is the one that touches surfaces and begins what we could say the fourth phase of water, of 18 phases. And what happens next is that water sets up a memory of what it's touching that's foreign. Mm-hmm. And everything that it touches differently. With tellurium, it'll form a surface tension, climb right up the wall. With plastic, it goes dead because of the light and restructuring the water and, destroying the memory part.
Right.
So that's why you don't drink water from a plastic bottle, because it's changed the pH to 6.8. It's toxic. Mm-hmm. And what you want is to put a small amount of baking soda inside the water. And what happens next, like homeopathy, it restructures the entire vessel. Just a couple grains, and the whole water is restructured in its relationship to itself around that foreign substance, in that case, baking soda. Mm-hmm. And it will change the pH up to 8.4. 8.4 is alkaline, and that allows best gut digestion rather than water coming out of bone marrow to have to digest the foods, instead of just going directly into the bladder. These are new technologies that we're learning how to use, and now we're putting these exclusive molecules in with fullerenes and other kinds of structures, and we're doing things with nanotechnology that is just science fiction. For example, they can give lethal doses of radiation to rats and feed them fullerene water. It's just a little buckyball, 60 carbon atoms with an exclusion zone water inside it, and there is a 95% recovery. I wrote about that in Nexus magazine. It's reproducible. They believe that what's actually happening is that carbon nanotubes, allotropes of carbon, are formed as super antioxidants that will go in and isolate both, heavy metals and ionizing radiation in the body. Stay tuned on all of this.
That's awesome.
The other part of it is you can put a different kind of water inside it. In this case, we'll call it deuterium or tritium. Ignite it with a teleportation laser from Lockheed, Carnegie Mellon, and now you have a fusion bomb, cold fusion bomb, that has such degree of control, it's at 1.4 nanometers. That structure is able to contain the explosion. That's what dolphins are doing. That's what you're seeing when you see the bubbles behind a submarine. Most likely that's what took down Building 7, 9/11.
A particle, was it a particle beam weapon? Would you consider it to be one? No. Okay.
No, it was a carbon nanotube fiber like they are planning to make the space bridge with, and they ignite it, putting deuterium inside it as a type of structured water and hitting it with a teleportation laser from who knows where.
Okay, so the teleportation laser.
And that laser was being designed by Lockheed as a communications device that did not need encryption.
Oh, hold on for a second here. So what do you mean by communications device? How does it communicate?
Well, it takes a signal from here, teleports it there without anything in between,
Nice.
so you can't.
What about telepathy? Does it work on that level?
Well, it's not telepathy, but
Okay.
it's light beams. Yes, yeah, and information. And what they do is they teleport it inside. The National Ignition Facility out of Livermore got a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger looking at the target when he was governor. That weapon exists. It was, by the way, in case everybody's interested, I doubt it, it was a Mossad weapon, probably used in Gaza and the Baghdad airport, and given to the United States, which means that while the Mossad is probably not involved with 9/11, they certainly knew about it. And that weapon has patents, and, there they are. And how it works is quite amazing. And imagine they're using the same allotrope of carbon to make a space bridge where they can connect the satellite in space using, an elevator.
Well, they can use it for a positive or a negative. Now, you're saying Mossad actually has access to that technology?
No, they're the ones that developed that technology.
They developed it.
And gave it to the U.S.
Oh, that's cool. That's just lovely. Yeah.
Well, this is old stuff.
I know, but it's good that you're...
Lots of news stuff out on it.
No, yeah, I'm sure. Well, it's interesting that what we don't know will kill us.
I don't know. That's right. Yeah.
Well, it's just so fascinating. I mean, and it's disturbing and fascinating at the same time because I love science. I mean, I just love science. I love, and then I see them misusing it, and I'm thinking, can't they just behave with it? And, you're such a good scientist, and that's what I like about you,
Well, it's just, I know that I don't really know. My pay grade doesn't give me access, and I'm an old man. I don't have a lab. So I can't do what I used to do to run a question down. The Internet is a tremendous tool. However, there's stuff all over the Internet. And who knows? It's, it's like Roswell, where the aliens left us flintlocks. In the rain.
Yeah. How much do you know about the Roswell?
Technology, but it isn't very good because, it's raining right now, that kind of thing.
That whole thing about Roswell, well, we might touch on that just a tad. But, they talk about the one ship or the one craft or maybe multiple. But I was under the impression the sky was saturated with craft, actually. Did you ever hear that?
So my guess is that Roswell didn't happen like we thought, that it was most likely a weapon from Japan, like the one that landed here in Oregon. And however, I have seen alien artifacts. I've actually done 2 of them, so I know they exist. But I'm just guessing that Roswell was one of those blimps that the last year's Japan sent off biologics and most of them fell in the Pacific. A couple of them landed here in Oregon, just like that. And I'm guessing that might have been Roswell. I don't know that. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I know that the theory was there was 2 dead aliens and a 3rd alien dying. They then did an autopsy on the dying alien. When the dying alien died, a 4th alien appeared in one of the bodies, and a trade was made for an individual called Krill. And that's what I know. I don't know if it was Roswell or something related. That part I don't.
Right. Well, to me, it seems like another distraction for something else that was happening on the timeline.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. See, that's the whole thing. It's sleight of hand, laserman. It's you're focused on one thing when something else is really going on.
Absolutely.
And what's going on that you need to know about is that there's global warming is bringing on a true, honest mini ice age. It's going to happen. There's no way around it. Has nothing to do with water. That's why they don't care about the money. It doesn't matter.
Right. And
what's
Richard,
about to happen isn't going to, that makes that, irrelevant.
Right. We're going to head for a break real quick. We'll be right back. Everybody stay tuned with Dr. Richard Allen. Welcome back, everybody, to the Dark Matter Radio Network. This is Hyperspace. I'm Solaris Blueraven, and I'm here with my very special guest, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. And Richard, you with me?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, it's wonderful to have you on tonight, and thank you again. I'm glad we finally caught up with each other. I know you just sent me a file. I'm not sure what that is, but
those are the talks that I'm going to do in Indianapolis next weekend at this gun show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
it's going to be there. Yeah.
Right. So maybe it's because you're doing these talks at a gun show that it's bringing up some controversy, huh?
Well, you mean phones that aren't working right, things like that.
Seems like you've had a little bit of sabotage going on.
See the conspiracy.
So, has your website been hacked? I know you had some problems with that.
Yeah, I've had my computer was compromised this weekend, and I didn't have the money to actually hire a nerd to come in, and so a few of my friends came over and showed me some new protocols where I'm able to I had the wrong virus protection and some other creepy stuff. And what I did is got rid of it, and I've got a really slick system, and I used a thing called Combo Box. And Combo Box went in and found some Alabama ticks. There's people out there in the Ukraine that if your housekeeping isn't right with Microsoft Outlook Express or Horde, even on your website using Horde, if you don't clean it right, oh boy, they come in and they'll take and hijack your computer by writing directly into your registers, and you can't find them.
Right. Seems like there's a lot of that going on right now.
Well, and so I learned how to do that.
Excellent.
I'm not a gamer. Someone that's a gamer is going to have to get really into it, because that seems to be where a lot of the predatory from India and Ukraine hang out. I don't know that field or anything like that. I'm a nerd, but I'm not that kind of a nerd. I don't know that form of science as well. I'm learning, and it gave me a little empowerment to feel like I could sort of, kind of protect myself. But,
right.
Well,
I'm glad you have.
Out there.
Yeah, it is. You have to be very, very careful. Let me touch base with you just a little bit on Area 51. I know a long time ago I talked to you a little bit about, you actually did go to Area 51.
Yes, I did.
Okay, can you talk briefly about that? I know you don't have a whole lot of information, but whatever you want to share.
I can tell you that it's a block in my memory. Carrie Cassidy wants to remind the world that she was the first to point it out. Carrie's the first. Something happened at Area 51 with me. I was not working Area 51. I was working Boeing, and then later anesthesiology, and some entity asked for my presence, and they brought me in. And I had no idea about aliens. It's not my area of expertise. I had no experiences with any of that. And what happened next was this big long table. There's a big pile of top secret documents, probably 8 hours worth of reading. And I just started grabbing journals when the door opened. What happened next, I kind of remember a little bit, but I don't remember what happened next other than I believe they don't know what happened. That's where I discovered the concept of synthetic telepathy, how this entity could talk to me in my head. It was a microwave band. And it was a type of gray that was maybe 7.5 feet tall, 8, not 8, 7.5 feet. Felt feminine, no sex. Felt feminine, like there was, it was a feminine presence. It was soft and assuring. And beyond that, I have no memory. And they have done hypnosis. They've done a bunch of drugs and other things, sodium pentothal, trying to break what happened. And I have no memory of it, except that there's a feeling of compliance, not compliance, of agreement, like I made an agreement or a contract.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Do not know for some point in time, like a time travel where I'm not at liberty to know something, even though I know about it kind of thing. I don't know how to explain that.